Hi, I'm Strength and Conditioning Specialist Mike Mejia, and welcome to another installment of Ask the Dryland Coach, where this time around we're continuing our series on fixing the flaws that we saw in our physical assessment series. And this time around we're going after the overhead squat. Now bear in mind, because the overhead squat is a total body drill, there are things going on in the upper body that are also going to limit your ability to do this squat effectively. But I've already covered most of those issues in the first two installments of this series, so you'll definitely want to go back and check over those. Today we're going to be concerning ourselves with everything that happens from the waist down on an overhead squat. And in this brief video I'm going to show you a couple of great drills to help increase your ankle mobility and your hip mobility as well, so that you can get down into that nice overhead squat position. So let's take a look at those drills right now.
Alright, so we've got Nicole all set up to show us our first drill, which is the wall ankle mobilization. Now I'll go in tight in a second, but basically what we're going to do here, we're going to start with one foot with your toes right up against the base of the wall. And now what Nicole's going to do from this position is she's going to lean in and drive her knee into the wall, and when you make contact with the wall, you're supposed to feel a stretch down through that Achilles tendon right down into the lower part of the calf into the heel. So that's kind of easy for her, so I would have her back up a little bit, and what we'll do is we'll take this in a little closer so you can see what's going on. So now she's got her feet a couple of inches away from the wall, and she once again drives in. Doing a good job there, making sure that that heel is staying down. This is increasing ankle mobilization. And still looks a little easy, so we'd back her up just a bit more, and you want to get to a point where you feel a really great stretch but are still able to keep that heel in contact with the ground. There she's working pretty good. So once you find that position, once again you're going to experiment. You're going to start with your toes right up against the wall and then gently ease back. You want to get to a position where you can keep the heel down and still have the knee make contact with the wall and get a great dynamic stretch down through that calf into the Achilles tendon. And that's the ankle wall mobilization, and you're going to want to make sure that you do both sides here. Our next drill is going to help increase mobilization in the hips, and this is called a high kneeling hip flexor stretch with thoracic rotation. Now for this one, Nicole's in that high kneeling position with the front knee out, bent about 90 degrees, and we're actually going after the back hip flexor on the stretch here. Now as you can see, she's holding a stick in her hand, and she's got the stick capped with her left hand. Now in one motion, what she's going to do is she's going to drive forward into that left knee as she presses the arm up on the other side. Good job, Nicole. Why don't you continue? Now, what I want to make sure that she does here is she stays core neutral. So that means that she's not hyperextending through her lower back. She's got her core engaged with her belly button kind of pulling in towards her spine, and she's not allowing that lower back to just gap up. What she's getting here is a really nice dynamic stretch in that right hip flexor, as well as the top of the right quad. And by using the right arm to bring the left arm back, she's getting some nice thoracic extension and a little bit of rotation as well. Good job there. And this is really going to help open up some tight hip flexors, which is definitely a limiting factor when it comes to overhead squats for some people. So you're going to do about anywhere between 10 and 12 repetitions there, and you want to make sure that you do both sides. Alright, our next drill is a real tough one, and it's going to help you increase your mobilization in your hips, and it's called the squat to stand drill. Now we're going to show you two different versions here. We're going to show you the advanced version, and then we're going to show you how you can make it a little bit easier for those of you who lack the mobility and basically wean yourself off of this modification so that you can do the full exercise. Now here Nicole's standing in an upright position with her feet a little bit wider than shoulders width apart. She's going to begin by squatting down, and she's going to squarely grab onto the insteps where the shoes are laced. Now, give me that chest up nice and tall, Nicole. All right, you can see she's got good hip mobility here. Now what she's going to do is stand up, keep her hands on her shoelaces, and she's going to straighten her legs to stretch the hamstrings. So she's going to give me a couple of reps there. Again, you want to really be able to drop down into those hips, get that chest up, excellent hip mobility there. That looks great, Nicole. All right, so we can also modify the drill for some of you who may not be as flexible. Go ahead and do that, Nicole. What we can do in this instance is we can take a couple of weight plates, or you could use a couple of thin notebooks, what have you. And basically you're going to put those in the same spot where you would be squatting. And we're going to get just the heels onto those plates or onto those books. And now from here, this is going to make it a little bit easier to do. And she's going to do the same drill where she drops down into those hips, and she's getting a good dynamic hamstring stretch there and mobilizing those hips. And again, this is the modified version. Now you can try it this way to get the form down, and then as you get better, you can just look to either lower the amount of the object that you're using, so you're going to get less of a stretch, and then eventually you can do them with your feet flat down on the floor. And that's the squat to stand drill.
So that does it for part 3 of our series on fixing the physical flaws. Be on the lookout for part 4, where we'll take a look at what went wrong doing the unilateral squat test. Definitely going to show you some effective drills there that can help balance out your lower body and just lead to more strength and power in general. So I'll see you next time right here on Ask the Dryland Coach.